Hello everyone, and good evening. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo están todos? Soy abogada soy una abogada de inmigración. Trabajamos en cada estado de este país. Ahora es tiempo para hablar conmigo directamente por gratis por algunas dudas o algunos temas de inmigración. So, as usual, today is your time for you to be able to ask whatever questions that you would like. And a lot of times I will read questions that I have received throughout the day on social media, through comments, or even direct messages to our office. This is your special time that you have to ask whatever questions you have about things that are going on in immigration law, everybody's favorite topic. The topic that we are going to be talking about today is parole in place, but we're also going to be talking about other options just in case you don't qualify for parole. As always, I will be talking in both Spanish and English unless you write one language over another in the comments. Hola, hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Soy abogada de inmigración. Trabajamos en cada estado de este país. Nosotros estamos ahorita para hablar, contestar. Ahora es su tiempo para hablar conmigo directamente y también que yo puedo contestar algunas preguntas sobre inmigración. Si tiene algunas dudas o preguntas, ahora es su tiempo. Si usted quiere una consulta confidencial o quiere hablar con mi equipo por gratis, por una evaluación completamente gratuita, usted puede llamar a nuestra oficina a 630-504-0648, 630-504-0648. Hola Guadalupe, ¿cómo estás? Sonia, Raimundo, ¿cómo está? Sala, ¿cómo está? Margarita, ¿cómo está? Negriti, José, muchísimas gracias a todos por su tiempo hoy. Estamos aquí para hablar sobre temas de inmigración específico del nuevo programa de Biden que están abiertos la semana pasada y hay muchas noticias y muchas cosas que son diferentes. So the thing that I want to talk to you about right now is parole in place because that's what everyone is talking about. If you have not been paying attention, if you do not know, what happened was that President Biden actually enacted something called parole in place for the spouses of U.S. citizens. It allows for people who are here undocumented, who had an illegal entry, and who have been here for 10 years to receive parole, essentially kind of an excuse or a waiver for their time that they are here undocumented. And then after 3 years, they would actually be able to apply for the residency and get your green card. However, during that time, you would also get a work permit that is valid for 3 years. Now, there's a lot of different nuances in there. There's a lot of different things that have happened, and we're going to break it down right now. Hello, Julia, ¿cómo está? Si usted quiere algo en español, recuerde que nosotros hablamos en español y en inglés siempre, ¿ok? Todo nuestro equipo también puede hablar en español también. Si usted necesita alguna información, llámanos a 630-504-0648. So the Parole in Place program opened last Monday. There's tremendous excitement. We've already filed a few things. We've had a lot of clients that have come through who do qualify, and a lot of clients that we actually spoke to before that initially did not qualify for something and now we're able to do something. So it's tremendously important for you to know about these things and then for you to be able to take the action steps necessary. All that being said, that we rode that high for the week, and then on Friday, which was expected, Texas, along with some other states, filed a lawsuit essentially preventing this parole in place to take place or asking courts to kind of step in and stop this program because they believe that it was wrong or that it was, contrary to public policy. And of course, I don't agree with that. And none of us immigration attorneys agree with that. Essentially, they thought that it is a bad precedent because it allows people that are here illegally to get legal status. Our argument, of course, is that every single person deserves the right to be able to get their legal status here in the United States. It really makes absolutely no difference to me what your history or what your background is. You have a right to be able to work here and to live here legally, and particularly what many people do not understand, and right now the anti-immigration rhetoric that is going on is this misunderstanding that undocumented immigrants are not contributing to society when that is absolutely patently completely false. Statistics have shown that taxes are being paid regularly, that our society and our community is being upheld by all the labor force that we have, as well as just a general understanding of community bonds and family relationships within the immigrant communities. As they say in Hamilton, immigrants get the job done, immigrants make us proud. It is the country of immigrants, and so we should continue to strive for that. So these are the same arguments that came forward before when the DACA program was initially introduced, when many people got upset about that. And now, of course, people are upset about this parole in place program. Regardless of that, what is happening is that we are continuing to file applications. Just right now, just about an hour ago, there was a notice that misunderstanding or misinformation that said that there was injunction placed and that we weren't allowed to file the parole in place applications. That is not true. What actually happened was the best way to describe it is what is called like an administrative pause, meaning that, again, Texas has filed and asked that while this lawsuit is pending for 14 days at least, USCIS, Immigration Services, cannot issue a decision on an incoming parole application. However, USCIS has not taken down their website or their application from their website, and so we are able to continue to file. Now, this begs the question, should you actually go through all the trouble of filing, or is it even worth it in the end? And that answer is really something that you can only answer, right? I mean, how badly do you want to get your documentation? How badly do you want to have a grasp of some hope of getting your work permit? Do you have other options available to you? And if you do, let's explore those options as well. The application fee for parole in place is $580. Regardless of whether it gets processed or doesn't get processed, you would lose that amount of money, and there is no fee waiver. So that is obviously something for you to consider. There's obviously other fees that are attached, of compiling the documentation and having an attorney file those documents for you. Please, please, please do not use a notario. Do not use a legal service provider. Do not use somebody who is not licensed in law in general for any immigration paperwork. Because it's illegal for them to actually work and work in the legal field without a legal license in that way. And B, because there will be so many errors and mistakes in your application and you only get one shot at this. However, hola Sandra, ¿cómo está? Muchísimas gracias. Oh, Sandra es un cliente que nosotros que me amo mucho, sí, me encantaría mucho, Sandra, y su familia también. Dice, hola, buenas noches, Bella abogada, muchas gracias por lograr que obtuviera mis documentos. Gracias de corazón, muchas gracias a usted y a su equipo, excelente abogada. Oh, Sandra, muchísimas gracias a usted. Yo no puedo decir que ¿Cómo fue nuestra oficina, nuestra experiencia con usted? Es una experiencia increíble, pero cuando usted recibe su aprobación, nosotros en nuestra oficina, nosotros lloramos con usted. Sí, yo soy muy, muy feliz para usted y quiero celebrar este día y también el cambio de su futuro también. Yo quiero mirar todo, sí, para usted y para su familia, bendiciones para usted, para su esposo, para toda su familia, porque usted merece sus papeles, merece esta oportunidad, merece la oportunidad de ganar su residencia, de ganar su permiso de trabajo, de ganar su permiso de viaje. Esta es la otra cosa que yo quiero discutir ahorita. Yo quiero charlar sobre todas las personas que están aquí. Hay muchas personas. Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo hoy. Pero la cosa que yo quiero hablar con usted es siempre hay esperanza, siempre hay una oportunidad, siempre hay una manera en que nosotros luchamos para usted. Yo creo en cada cliente, yo creo en cada oportunidad y no hay alguna manera en que yo puedo aceptar una negación para ustedes, ¿ok? Yo quiero aprobaciones para ustedes. Esa es la razón que yo tengo estos vivos también para ustedes, ¿sí? La razón es tan importante y es una cosa que usted necesita que entender y recordar, ¿ok? Usted merece sus papeles. No le importa que usted tuve entrada ilegal o ahorita usted vive en las sombras y piense que no hay alguna luz, no piense que no hay alguna esperanza. No, no es cierto. Hay esperanza, hay una manera, hay posibilidad para ustedes y también hay soluciones. Por ejemplo, ahorita, si usted no quiere aplicar para Pro Inglés porque hay alguna duda de este programa o que usted no califica por Pro Inglés porque necesita casarse con un ciudadano y piensa que no, no es posible para mí. Nosotros tenemos otras opciones, ¿ok? Una opción que yo quiero hablar ahorita, and remember, I'm going to switch back into English too, es de VAWA. Si estás casado, separado o divorciado con un ciudadano o residente, que es un poco diferente de PIP, de Prolonged Place, porque por un Prolonged Place usted necesita casarse con un ciudadano. Si usted está separado o divorciado en desde 2 años, puede aplicar por VAWA por algunos problemas tóxicos que usted tuve en su relación. También, si usted tiene un hijo mayor de 21 años y es un ciudadano, también usted puede calificar por VAWA si tuviera algunos problemas tóxicos en su relación con su hijo. So let me repeat that in English because I went on a tangent there. First of all, Sandra is one of our clients and she's amazing. I mean, if you ever get the chance to meet her, I hope that you do. She has actually posted her pictures on our page and she has shown her approval in her hands. She has stuck with us throughout. We believed in her. We knew that we could get this for her, and we managed to get her work permit and her residency, and she's able to travel and live here legally now after years and years. ¿Cuántos años tuve? Sandra, usted se espera por, pienso que más de 20 años, ¿sí? I think if she's still here, she's going to tell us, but I think it was more than 20 years that she's been waiting and waiting and waiting for this opportunity. So it was life-changing. And what I was telling her was that, to be perfectly honest, I mean, she's very, very near and dear to my heart, her and her husband and her entire family. And when I received the notice of her approval, everybody in the office was just celebrating and crying with excitement because we're just so elated when our clients get this news. I mean, every single day, people think like, I've been doing this for 20 years that maybe it won't be as exciting anymore, or maybe I wouldn't get as excited, but I am just as excited as I am from the very first case that I won 20 years ago. It makes no difference to me. I mean, I literally am like jumping up and down and squealing and, just as excited for my clients as I have always been because it's such a huge moment for everybody. It's such a huge moment. And it is not lost on me how much your dreams and aspirations and your plans for the future depend on these legal papers. And especially when I see videos of you going and visiting your family back home and surprising your parents and, visiting your birthplace, that there's nothing to compare to that kind of emotion, right? So anyway, that was one tangent. But then what I wanted to talk about, and that I think is tremendously important, is this Parole in Place program is just one of many, many options that are available. It is brand new, so of course people are talking about it. But if you do not qualify for it, or if you're just a little bit worried because you don't like the fact that there's a lawsuit and there's injunctions and there's all this talk, and maybe you might not want to pay the $580 application fee and not know if you're actually going to get results or not, then I still strongly suggest that this is your time for you to get the free case evaluation that my office offers to you at 630-504-0648, because there are still so many other options. For example, if you are married to a U.S. citizen or a resident, which is different from the Parole in Place program, or you are separated, or you are divorced, or you have a child who's 21 years and up and a citizen, and you have suffered in some way in those relationships, and you have had toxic problems in any manner, then you have the ability for you to change your entire future with VAWA and get a work permit, a travel permit, and residency here inside the United States without having to leave. Okay, Sandra, I'm just going to say because we were talking about Sandra, so Sandra dice, sí, abogada, no perdí las esperanzas, gracias a usted, claro, vamos a celebrar. Sí, por supuesto, necesitamos una fiesta específica para usted y para su esposa y toda su familia, ¿sí? Pudimos que invitar toda su familia porque yo quiero celebrar con todas las personas, todos mis clientes que reciben aprobaciones. Yo no puedo decir, mm, no puedo decir más de eso, ¿sí? No tengo palabras para mí, para mi feliz, pero para ustedes, ¿sí? So Sandra was saying that, yes, she never lost hope. And thank you to all of us. And she can't wait to celebrate with all of us. And honestly, like I said, it just never gets old. I want to celebrate with all of you. I want to cheer you on. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will be your biggest champion. Being an attorney is such a privilege and such an honor, but it's also such an opportunity for me to channel like good energy and good vibes to people who really, really deserve it and who've never had somebody who stood up and been like, no, you deserve this. And for me, when you come into a consult with me, I want to tell you all about the law, of course. I want to tell you about your options. I want to give you a path forward, and I want to give you like a hope, but realistic hope, right? About your chances, about what you can actually do. But then I also want you to know that you have the ability within yourself to do anything. And if your dream has always been, for example, like one of my clients, her dream was always that she wanted to open up a food truck. That's your dream, then I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you can get that dream. I have other clients. Just the other day, my client who just got his work permit, he says, I'm going to open up a restaurant. I said, not only are you going to open up that restaurant, but the very first customer to your restaurant is going to be me. I will sit there and I will make sure and I will cheer you on and make sure that people know about your restaurant, because I want you to understand that you always have somebody in your corner, and you have somebody who's watching and paying attention and really, really believes in your ability to make a difference in this country. Because despite what the naysayers say and the haters say, and all the negative talk that we hear, especially around election time, you do deserve to be here. You bring real value into this country, and you deserve your legal papers. So, si usted tiene algún sueño, es mi responsabilidad que yo puedo cumplir para usted sus sueños, ¿sí? Y realizar sus sueños a la realidad, ¿sí? Yo quiero cambiar los sueños para usted. Yo quiero cambiar su futuro. Oh, hello, Mushtaq. How are you? Hello, Karen. Hello, Neha. So like I said, we switch between English and Spanish. So I see there's a lot of people that are both, and I'm seeing comments about that. So don't worry, if I'm speaking one language, I will switch over really quickly. Also, feel free to give us a call at 630-504-0648. If you are on TikTok for whatever reason, sometimes people are not able to leave as many comments. Please switch over to Facebook, and I will answer whatever your questions are and your comments are. But I absolutely love talking to you. I think it's such a fantastic way for me to be able to talk to each one of you individually, quote unquote, and also to get the word out for you. So right now, like I said, there might be a lot of doubt, there might be a lot of fear about the Parole in Place program. I would not worry about it. We are continuing to file applications. If you do decide to file your application, do so now. Call us now, because I anticipate that we will have to submit all the applications this week. Since we have this kind of temporary pause for 14 days, we have to try to submit as many applications as possible during this time. So do not delay. This is not a time for you to procrastinate. This is not a time for you to be, kind of going back and forth. At least get the consult, because what you will find out is sometimes, like today, a person who had seen one of my videos, he came in and he actually just walked in and asked for an appointment, and then we were actually able to fit him in the next day. But anyway, so he managed to come in for an appointment, and he wanted to do the Parole in Place, but his situation was very different. And when I started talking to him, I realized that he actually qualified for something even better and faster than Parole in Place. And we were so excited. He was just unbelievable. He was just shell-shocked because he couldn't believe all this time. He thought, oh, I had just resigned myself to just only getting a work permit and never being able to leave the country. And I said, no, through this program, you will be able to get a work permit, a travel permit, and your green card all within the span of 2 to 3 years. It's a better option than Parole in Place. And he wouldn't have known that if he didn't do the consult. So that's why I'm saying, book the consult. give us a call. And if you're worried about, the money aspect or whatever, call us first. Everything is free. So we have these free opportunities, then we have a free case evaluation. We give you free information and we'll talk to you for free. And then you set up a consultation. Okay. So, do what you can to get the word out and also to learn as much as possible for yourself and for your family. Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Ustedes quieren que yo traduce todo esto en español otra vez? Ok. So, la cosa que yo quiero decir a todos, sí, es que siempre hay esperanza. Y si usted no califica por el Parole Place, tenemos otras opciones. Por ejemplo, hoy yo tengo un cliente que pensé que él puede calificar por Parole Place y sí, él se puede, pero en realidad cuando yo hablé con él, yo puedo encontrar otra opción que es más seguro y más fácil, porque recuerde con Parole in Place, con esta nueva ley, usted solamente recibe un permiso de trabajo y después la oportunidad de ganar su residencia. Pero con la otra opción que nosotros tenemos debajo de VAWA, por ejemplo, usted también puede recibir un permiso de viaje y puede salir, puede visitar a sus padres y después puede regresar y también puede ganar su residencia en 2 o 3 años. Es una opción más fuerte de todo. So, cuando nosotros hablamos, yo y este cliente, yo puedo encontrar otra opción que es más seguro, más rápidamente y también para él es una opción increíble porque él quiere visitar a su mamá y no se puede en alguna manera con otras opciones, pero debajo de esta opción que nosotros tenemos hoy, él podría visitar a su mamá en el futuro, que es realmente es su prioridad, ¿sí? So, por esa razón, ahorita es su tiempo. Llámenos, nosotros tenemos muchas evaluaciones, tenemos muchos espacios. Pues hay espacios, ahorita nosotros tenemos muchas citas cada día, pero esta es mi prioridad ahorita. So, pudimos encontrar espacios para usted, algunas citas disponibles para usted más pronto, porque es mi prioridad que tratamos de ayudar a toda la gente específico en este año de elección antes de algún cambio de administración, ¿ok? Si tiene alguna pregunta o duda o necesita alguna información más, por favor llámame. Aquí yo tengo muchísimas oportunidades para usted, muchas soluciones. Puede preguntar a Sandra y es posible que hay otros clientes que están aquí. Ellos también pueden decir que sí, siempre hay esperanza. Nosotros luchamos para usted. Hola Saúl, ¿cómo está? Álvaro, ¿cómo está? Hola José. Hay muchos clientes aquí. Ellos pueden decir con cierto que sí hay luz, ¿ok? Tenemos una pregunta aquí para Marilu. Hola, Carlos, ¿cómo está? Marilu tiene la pregunta, ¿cuánto tarda en aprobar la visa T? Ok, Marilu. So, usualmente, en general, mi respuesta de eso es que usted necesita que esperar por de 15 meses o 12 y medio años para una aprobación de la visa T. Pero la otra día, nosotros recibimos una respuesta, una aprobación en de un año exacto. So, hay posibilidades que recibir su aprobación más rápidamente, pero usualmente un guía para usted para esperar para la aprobación de la visa T es para 1 año y medio o 3 años más o menos. Pero como yo expliqué ahorita, en realidad nosotros recibimos muchas aprobaciones muy rápidamente. Para las personas que no saben, la visa T es para personas que sufren maltratos en la frontera con los coyotes o sufren maltratos, discriminación en su trabajo o se trabaja en algún lugar un poco peligroso o tiene problemas con su patrón o con su jefe o usted te obligaron a trabajar y no te pagas. Estas muchas maneras en que puede calificar por la visa T. So, en inglés. Mary Lou is asking, how long will it take for the approval of a T visa? And I told her that usually my general answer to that is 1 to 3 years. However, I will say that most recently we have received approvals in less than 1 year and also in 15 months. It's not a guarantee, and I never like to talk about the exact timings of things because I can never tell you exactly. I don't know when your case will actually get approved. I can just give you a general timeline of when cases are generally getting approved with our clients. But I will say that this year we have seen record approvals and they have been very fast. And it's just been tremendously exciting to see. You know, it's very, very fun when we can get results faster to you, right? It's fun for us too. Um, for those of you who don't know, a T visa is available for you if you have suffered any sort of abuse or mistreatment at the border when you were crossing with coyotes or with somebody who was claiming to help you with passage. The most common scenarios of that are usually at the border of Mexico, for example. There's a whole process in which you have to pay coyotes or these, brokers, and they help you go through, but they actually abuse you, mistreat you, and force you to work instead. That is a form of trafficking, and you do qualify for a T visa as a result. Other ways that I have seen this happen is people coming from other countries, for example, India or China or Pakistan, but really any countries. And, a quote unquote uncle or an uncle's friend or some friend of a friend or a broker or whatever will say, pay me $10,000 and I will get you across into America. And then you go on this long, arduous, dangerous, horrible journey. And throughout the entire time, you are forced to work or cook or clean or do other nefarious things. And then you come into the country and you're kind of trapped. They've taken away your passport, your identification. You have no means of transport. You're stuck in a foreign country not knowing the language. These are all ways, too, that you can also qualify for a T visa. Other ways that you can qualify for it is if you suffer abuse in your workplace. For example, I have done just recently, we are working on a case for a man who worked in a restaurant and was working really inhumane hours at the restaurant. And the owner of the restaurant actually told him, no, you can live with me and my wife and we'll take care of you. But they actually took his identification papers and he's basically a slave. He not only works in the restaurant day in and day and night, but then he comes into their home and he has to cook and clean for them as well. He's not allowed to leave. He doesn't have a driver's license. And anytime that he kind of asks for more pay or more or a break, even, they would tell him that they were going to call immigration and have him deported. These are also ways that you can qualify for a T visa. The great thing about his story was that he actually watched one of my videos and somehow or another managed to get a phone from a friend and then gave me a call, and then we were able to help him. And he's now living freely away from these people. So there are so many ways for you to break the cycle, so many ways for you to become free. I will say one more thing, as long as we're on the topic of something like that, and that is for my clients or for my people that are listening right now that have been forced into a marriage or contracted into a marriage or kind of just went into a marriage not fully knowing the other person and then are rudely awakened by gross misbehavior by their in-laws or by their husband or by their wives, in which they're made to work or cook or clean or act as a servant. They are not treated as equal citizens. Maybe they're not given a car. They're not able to leave. Maybe their phones are taken away from them, or their messages are being checked, or they are being threatened that they have to give up their gold jewelry to pay for something, or they have to ask their parents for more money to kind of, compensate for accommodation or living expenses. I've seen so many stories about this, and I will do another talk about this. If any of that sounds familiar to you, you actually qualify for one of three things. You qualify for a T visa, you could potentially qualify for a VAWA, and you could even qualify for a U visa. There are so many options for you. Nobody, no man or woman or child, deserves to be treated in such a horrific way. Nobody should be treated like a slave. Nobody should become a slave to another person. Nobody should be treated lesser than or to be made to feel inferior. And if you feel like you are, or you know someone who is, please share this video and let them know that there are options available to you. And even if your spouse is threatening to deport you, for example, that's not a valid accusation. And you have to let go of that fear and realize that you are worth more than that. And there is somebody out there like me who will champion for you and make sure that you get all the legal help that you need. All right. With all of that, I will now invite you to give us a call at 630-504-0648. I hope this was helpful to all of you. I get a lot of messages from people afterwards talking about how, these lives are so appealing to them and kind of a way for them to recognize that they do have a lot more other options than they thought they did. And that is my goal. I want every single person to understand their rights. I want you to know what you deserve. I want you to stand firm in your power. I want you to step out of the shadows. I want you to make sure that you realize that we're rooting for you, and that, like Sandra, we want to see only the best for our clients. All right. Adiós todos. Adiós Lorena. Adiós todos y buenas noches.